I can't believe it. CM Punk has finally debuted in AEW. This tattoo I just got is gonna age super well. Well, maybe I can get it covered up? Ah!
Well, here we are, almost 2 years after CM Punk returned to the world of professional wrestling. Pepsi Phil, for a solid decade, was the biggest wrestler in the world, bar none. And that's what made his absence from wrestling so difficult. The revolution he started really did change professional wrestling, from a cartoonish parody of a sport to art imitating life in the best way possible. That's truly what made his return a once-in-a-lifetime event, and his run-up to winning the AEW World title truly magical. Past that point though, that's when the muffins hit the fan, and now CM Punk has been fired from All Elite Wrestling. We're all used to CM Punk being the type of guy and character to speak his mind whether you liked what he said or not. That vocalness is what made him have this cult of personality, for lack of a better term. Unfortunately though, in every CM Punk real-life argument and backstage fight, there's one common thread here, and it's Phil Brooks himself. I'm not a judge, but screw it, neither was Spooky Man Jones over here.
So let's take CM Punk to court to find out, is he truly the backstage cancer that everyone has perceived him to be? Or is he a man that has had people gunning over him and has slowly become a victim of his own success? These are the crimes of CM Punk. When it comes to superheroes and villains, they do have one thing in common, an origin story. And for the rise of the mythos of CM Punk, I can think of nobody else that is the yin to his yang, the Batman to his Joker, Paul Levesque, aka Hunter Hearst Helmsley himself, Triple H.
The crux of this conflict can be found, like many other things in CM Punk's mainstream wrestling career, on Colt Cabana's infamous Art of Wrestling podcast interview post-WWE release for Cookie Monster Punk. Whether it be on shoot interview podcasts or live on WWE programming, CM Punk has always gone out of his way to air out the now head of creative. Accusations from CM Punk in these regards have included not pushing younger talent when it was their time to be pushed, feeling insecure about his placement on the card, being an elder statesman in the world of wrestling, and not knowing when to push a hot superstar above himself. To be fair, Triple H's post-Attitude Era resume doesn't exactly build a strong case against Punk here. Just a short glimpse at Hunter's WrestleMania history will tell you everything you need to know. With self-aggrandizing matches like his bouts with The Undertaker and Batista, to a no-holds-barred bout with Brock Lesnar that had basically no heat behind it, and not to also mention that Booker T match. Not to also mention putting himself in at number 30 for a Royal Rumble where Roman Reigns was going to be defending the WWE Championship and winning it. Sure, it was the forcibly put over Roman Reigns, but who honestly looks back at the main event of WrestleMania 32 fondly here? In Triple H's defense though, it seems like CM Punk was never forthcoming with his issues until that infamous night where he walked out on Monday Night Raw.
You cool with him, or you have your feelings hurt? He's a weird cat. Like, I don't mean that as a knock, but I mean that as he's hard to get to know, he doesn't talk, he doesn't communicate well. I would hear from everybody in my role now as, talent relations and all that. I would hear to everybody that, oh my God, he's livid today, he's quitting, he's this, he's that. I'd go to him and say, what's going on? And I'd get, nothing.
Do CM Punk's accusations towards Triple H still hold up in the current day? Well, kind of. You see, while he was great at establishing NXT as a third brand of WWE and is currently the head of creative of the current WWE product, let's just say his in-ring career is definitely spotty at best when it comes to elevating those who aren't himself. It is truthfully all about the game and how you play it, and for me, CM Punk is not guilty in causing this whole backstage kerfuffle. While he indeed played a part in it, he is not solely to blame, and I don't think is the main guy to blame here. So, CM Punk in this count is not guilty. What? Vince McMahon being an out-of-touch old man? Never heard that before. Let's get this off the table now. Vince McMahon is certifiably 100% guilty of this and a lot of other Regardless on how you feel about CM Punk, Vince McMahon was never truly going to push him in the way that he should have in the 2010s.
He absolutely should have main evented WrestleMania 29 in a three-way between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena here.
Don't get me wrong, CM Punk is not 100% right about, well, a lot of things. But he is 100% right here on Vince and is truly hitting the nail on the head. Sorry folks, this ain't the steroid trial. Vince McMahon is 100% guilty.
And I'd like to think that maybe this company will be better after Vince McMahon's dead. But the fact is, it's gonna get taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law.
Well, CM Punk was wrong about that now, wasn't he? When When it comes to the land of kayfabe, I can truly not think of two performers that truly are opposites more than CM Punk and John Cena. This feud was not only built off of bitterness turned to resentment, it was also based off of apathy. John Cena and the WWE corporate machine built him to be this megastar in and outside of the squared circle. He was the Hogan, he was the Stone Cold, he was the poster boy for WWE.
This is while CM Punk is bringing in fans and becoming the backbone of WWE for quite a while here, performing at every house show, being champion for 400 plus days, and never getting the recognition he should have as champion. Meanwhile, having to sit back and watch Cena and Rock do their twice in a lifetime song and dance for an entire year. Resentment and kayfabe, sure, but if we're shooting brother, it's a whole different story. Since their legendary feud, the two men have actually spoken quite highly of each other outside of WWE.
Both men in recent times have come out to state that this is one of their favorite matches, and it's not hard to see why. Cena had so much pull, and Punk was so apathetic to the product at the time, and so just jaded to the world of professional wrestling, to where they were able to get so much creative freedom through this match, and on such a big stage as well.
I always liked working with John because it was easy.
CM Punk's outburst, I didn't agree with what he had to say, but I found nothing wrong with it.
Punk, what match in your career are you most proud of?
I remember wrestling John Cena in Houston, and for me, that was my WrestleMania.
When my career is said and done, being my best opponent.
In this case, I'm going to dismiss it. While I'm sure there was some resentment there and a little bit of tension, everything seems resolved now, and frankly, these are two men who have defined each other's careers. So this case is dismissed. It truly feels like we're in the wrong timeline when I have to talk about the Second City Saints in a video like this, huh? It's awful to see the fact that Scott Colton and Phil Brooks are no longer real-life friends, and to see that their interview on the Art of Wrestling podcast really was the catalyst to the current mythos we have about CM Punk looking back.
If you would love a summary of these two falling out, I covered it in my CM Punk vs. The Elite video, which you can click in the card here if you want a more in-depth analysis of the whole situation. The TLDR version is, though, that the WWE financed a frivolous lawsuit that eventually led to an emotional and financial wedge between the longtime two best friends, and long story short, ended their friendship. Such a cataclysmic event to later rumors around old feelings would eventually lead to the downfall of CM Punk in AEW and the Out Brawl Out situation.
Colt Cabana has stayed primarily quiet about all involving this situation, and to be fair, it's not hard to see why. Colt Cabana really seems like a sweet guy, and it's truly sad to see such a strong friendship end in such a spectacle like this. Let this man in the bank account he shares with his mother alone, damn it, guilty. I love Eddie Kingston. He truly seems like a saint on this earth, and how dare you, Phil, for messing with— In all seriousness though, Kingston not liking CM Punk is rooted back in his first ROH run, where we started to see shades of the dark side of CM Punk that would later come to the surface.
Punk buried Eddie Kingston in other promotions, calling him out of shape, undisciplined, and hard to work with. Props to Eddie Kingston though for being able to work all through this and be able to produce a fantastic match at Full Gear 2021 that honestly was probably one of the best of Punk's tenure in the company. Kingston has even stated that their infamous promo battle triggered a lot for him from the past.
But you low-life scumbag, two-faced, narcissistic bitch! You, give me a second. You judged me. I came to that locker room to get free from my mental crap, free from the streets. I came to that locker room for brotherhood, and all you did was judge me.
While I think even Eddie would admit that some of his personal demons have kind of kept him back in the world of professional wrestling, at the end of the day, politics really haven't seemed to be on the Mad King's side here. And frankly, it kind of makes CM Punk a bit of a hypocrite. Guilty as charged. The All Out Brawl Out is really one of those backstage incidents that I think is going to permeate within the wrestling ether for many years to come, much like the Montreal Screwjob. Luckily, I've already made a giant deep dive video discussing this entire situation that you can click on here with the card if you want to know my full thoughts on it.
But to summarize though, in my personal opinion, both parties are wrong. If Punk pushed for Tony Khan to fire Colt Cabana, it's a gross misuse of backstage influence. If the Elite did leak this information to the dirt sheets, it's immature and a misuse of power.
Not to also mention Hangman's weird cryptic promo was the first shot in snowballing CM Punk into the Harvey Dent-esque persona that we know him as today. To get into a giant backstage fight after such unprofessional behavior, all men should be ashamed of themselves here. Everyone is guilty. So hypothetical here, what if you're a champion of a large wrestling promotion and you unfortunately get injured after winning your title? Then, the other top guy in the company carries the belt for you and ensures that the ship doesn't sink while you're resting up, and then writes an entire story in which, yeah, he wins the first match, but then you get put over as the champion in your hometown. How would you react to that? Well, CM Punk's answer was talking shit on social media.
Tony Khan isn't Vince McMahon. When someone is injured, he stays true to their contract. So the idea that TK forced Punk to return a week or two early before he'd be cleared for his foot for the unification match, which I find hard to believe, as well as having his hands tied apparently and being forced to do this Rocky III style story, and the fact that Phil has never seen a Rocky movie, and to anyone who wants to defend Punk here by saying, oh well, CM Punk's just doing what the boss asked him to do, it's TK's fault he told him to come back. Punk can't have any say in anything that goes on in AEW.
They let this man control an entire second brand.
I think truthfully Jon Moxley said it the best later on with his interview on his wife's podcast.
Is there anything that you would like to say or acknowledge, or is there anything that you would like to address with all the stuff that has kind of unfolded in the last couple of days?
No, the lawyers are like, oh my God, are you guys talking about it? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't care. I don't want to get dragged into this dumb shit.
Yeah.
And when I start getting dragged into this shit, it tempts me to do that. But I'm not going to fucking sink to that level because it's fucking lame.
Ladies and gentlemen of the court, guilty as charged.
Let me throw another hypothetical at you. Let's say, you deck your coworker just because you thought they were talking smack. Then your boss, instead of firing you, says, hey, you're just gonna work at a different place where you're basically gonna be able to run it and you're not gonna have to work on the same days as them. And then you say, okay, great, but hey, by the way, I don't want HR there. I'm gonna hire my own HR because, I'm the guy who just punched someone and broke a lot of rules and probably a lot of laws. Does that make sense to you? Good, because it shouldn't.
CM Punk dug his own grave on this one for Collision. To ban the head of talent relations, Christopher Daniels, from your show so Ace Steel, your guy, can come in on Saturday nights has big f*** you, I do what I want energy all over it. Punk seemingly has no beef with Christopher Daniels besides the fact that the Fallen Angel has this role in AEW and he's friends with the Bucks.
Quick warning to all my friends out there who are entering the workforce or is currently in the workforce and has a coworker who wants no one around who actively holds them accountable. That is a red flag. Was Ryan Nemeth's tweet about CM Punk needed? God no. Lord knows the guy probably just wanted to get some cheap pops from the IWC on Twitter. Really, on such a hot button issue and such a sensitive topic, sometimes it's just better to keep your mouth shut.
That being said, he wasn't the only one to deal with Punk's boys club of personality here. There's still no clear reason on why Matt Hardy was turned away from a Collision taping he was scheduled for, and if Punk is serious about building these bridges that he's burned with the Elite, you'd think maybe making up with Hangman Page would be a great step in that direction.
Collision was in fact CM Punk's show, but Punk does not own AEW. That's Tony Khan, baby. Yeah, he's guilty on this one too. It is truly hard to think that George of the frickin' Jungle is the dude who didn't CM Punk in AEW.
Sure, the real glass comment wasn't needed, but CM Punk has done way worse with a live microphone in his hand. This entire conflict would make WWE CM Punk's eyes roll in the back of his head. If the rumors are true and Punk's team did leak all this conflict to the dirt sheets, how is Perry not supposed to respond?
Not to also mention, if reports are to be true here, CM Punk started the fight with Jack Perry at AEW's biggest show. What's that about protecting the company at its biggest gate, Phil? Clown making Punk, my man, you're gonna get the verdict you deserve on this one. Guilty. I don't like talking about this. I like CM Punk and I just want to be able to like him again. I guess you could say he needs a little cult of personality therapy? What can I say? I'm a Cheap Heat guy. Speaking of Cheap Heat, we just started a new series on this channel called Cheap Heat, where we go over your wrestling hot takes and unpopular opinions. Go ahead and hit it right here in the end card. This has been Extreme League Wrestling. Make sure to suplex that like button, and we'll catch you next time.